All right, here we go. Hello, Duber Church. We're here with Mark and Susanna Bev Donahue, and they are down in Paraguay, a couple of the missionaries that we support here at Duber Church. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and also just why don't you tell us a little bit about what your ministry looks like non-COVID times before coronavirus, and maybe a little bit of what is your vision, or has God given you a vision for where you think you're going, as we go through COVID and as we're coming out of it. So if you want to share just a little bit of what you have been doing and where you feel like God's leading you in the future here.
Good morning, Duber Church. It's good to see you all this morning. And this is an unusual, cool morning for us in Paraguay. We're in the 50s and we're used to being in the 90s, which is really warm, but we are doing well. And we thank you for your prayers, for your support. And God has been helping us to minister. We have 8 churches here in Paraguay that we've been working with. We have been visiting like on a regular basis each Sunday, going to a different church, trying to encourage. We sing some, just doing different things, or the pastor may ask, could you give us a word from the scripture? And so before coronavirus, we have been visiting the churches and trying to encourage people, spend time with them and do different things with them. And so God has been helping us, and we have felt your prayers and your support. And thank you very much for that.
And just to give you an update on what's been happening here since COVID has come along, it has changed things completely. It was overnight that our president here in Paraguay pretty much shut everything down, especially anything that was in a mass event, which meant schools and churches and sports and any entertainment that is in a bigger sense. All that was shut down literally overnight. And so we first started out with not being able to go hardly any place except you could go to the grocery store, the places that were essential. And so with that, that means ministry looks a little differently. As Mark has shared with you, that we have traveled around to our different churches, trying to be an encouragement to them and doing other things. He didn't say that also he's one that does one-on-ones and likes to share with people, and especially he's had the opportunity to do that, especially into a friend of his. But we, with the COVID, that meant everything shut down completely. And so what do you do with that? And one morning we were at the breakfast table saying, God, what is in our hands? And we realized that being musicians, that we had in our hands the fact that we could play the piano, we could sing, and our strength was, as far, especially drawing on the past, was that we could sing hymns. And so it's not as common for people to sing hymns here, and yet we feel that the hymns bring a very strong sense of who you are and what you believe in God, and it's something that could be strengthened. And so for the last over 150 actually days, we have sent something out music-wise, and most of it has been in hymns, singing a couple stanzas and usually sending the words along with it so that they could see what the rest of it said as well. And so that's been one thing that we have done, that we've been able to share with some of our people, some of our pastors, and encourage them, because on our phones we have what they call WhatsApp. It's an app that allows you to send things, whether it's text, voice, or it's a video call. And so we are grateful for some of the technology that God had in place before all this happened. Some other opportunities have come along because of some of that we've been able to do some Bible studies over the internet or using a phone. And we're grateful to the Lord for those opportunities. We are now able to be with some people occasionally that kind of thing. So that's allowing us to do a little bit maybe more one-on-one or in some more guarded settings, shall we say. And so it's allowing us to share in the ministry that way as well.
Before the coronavirus happened, we were trying to think of ways to help our pastors to do more with their churches in the community. And we were struggling with that. However, since the coronavirus has happened here in Paraguay, a lot of our people are poor. They live from day to day. But some of our pastors now in their communities where their homes are at, they have been serving meals on a daily basis, trying to help people in the community. And one of our churches in particular, Buenas Nuevas, the Good News Church, they have been serving meals, and then I think it was later in the evenings, the people have come over and stood outside the fence. And they have been singing songs and praying together and doing things in a way that they never did before. And we're seeing now that this is helping some of our pastors to connect with their community. There was another pastor where his wife didn't know very many people in the community, but they also have been helping with meals for people in the community. And the wife was saying now when she goes outside the house, the people greet her and say hello to her, which before never happened. So even in the midst of something difficult as this coronavirus and the pandemic that we've been having, we see how God has been working and even helping with our pastors and people in our churches to show God's love through meals, through doing different things of ministry, and in that way connecting more with the people in the community where before that had not been happening. So we see God working in different ways, even through this difficult time with the virus.
Oh, that's great to hear them find new ways, seeing where God's leading them to keep connected with people and sharing the gospel. So, is there anything specific that you both or the people of Paraguay could be prayed for? Are there any specific things that you would like us as a church to be praying for over the next several months?
Well, I guess to continue to pray for our churches and to do more outreach in their communities, because that has been a big thing, to connect with the people just around them. But it started that, and I guess to continue to pray for our people where they live from day to day. A lot of them have been without work, and so without work they haven't had the money for food, or if they have medical emergencies, they haven't had money for that. And we've been trying to help as a mission to help with costs for food where they don't have enough money, or to help with expenses for medical needs and different things that come up. Anything?
I guess I would share also. I've been a part of the Asunción Christian Academy board of directors for several years now, and they have had to do online studies for a long time. And when the time comes that it is opened up for them to allow students back in, that God would give real wisdom in how to actually make that happen and to do it in a way that would be the best for all.
Also, maybe to pray for the mission, World Gospel Mission, in this time with the virus and things. There are some new missionaries that are wanting to come, but being able to do fundraising and support raising, as well as also the transition even to come, like to Paraguay. You have to isolate for 2 weeks, and if we would go home to the States, we'd need to isolate ourselves for 2 weeks. So there's a lot of things in all this change and transition, with new missionaries considering to come, and fundraising and visiting churches and stuff. And I guess to remember the mission administration during this time, as well as even missionaries in the States that are considering to come to help us, because we could use more people here to help us in Paraguay in ministry. And there are some people that are wanting to come, but it's very challenging in this time of the coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, and we will continue to pray for you as Duber Church, and lift you guys up in prayer, and pray for our missionaries in general. So thanks for sharing that with us today.